Before I get started, I want to send my condolences to the family of David Driscoll. David Driscoll was killed at the nearby gas station a few blocks from where I live. Unfortunately, to this 20-year-old college student, he was inspiring to become an engineer. And unfortunately, he had to cross the path of a thug who ended up shooting him multiple times. This young man attended Sinclair Community College and he was trying to go to the University of Cincinnati to become an engineer. So once again, I want to send my condolences to the family and also pray for forgiveness to those who killed this man. Also, I want to send my thank you to Heads Up. Heads Up is a progressive web blog on YouTube that has made multiple videos criticizing the Bush administration as well as numerous celebrities and politicians. They had gave me this t-shirt because after all, I promoted these videos talking about what's going on with Washington and what's going on in my community, and I wanted to say a big thank you to those who are working at Heads Up. Now, as I get started, I want to talk about the things that matter to me. That includes my community, what's including in the government, and of course the corrupt mainstream media. But today, instead of talking about politics, let's talk about entertainment. Anybody heard of Chris Brown? I'm waiting. Well, Chris Brown is a pop singer who has made multiple albums, and he's very much on top of his high game right now. But until of recently, at the Grammys, unfortunately, Chris Brown may have to seal up that deal and call it quits. Chris Brown now joins Bobby Brown and even James Brown. Controversial history, right? Bobby Brown beat up on Whitney. James Brown beat it up on his wives. Now Chris Brown is added to the list. But who did he beat up on? Did you happen to know that Chris Brown is dating mega pop star Rihanna? Well, the LA Times had leaked out finally the name. After all, everybody knew probably that Chris Brown was dating Rihanna, but the LA Times went ahead and just said, well, Rihanna got beaten up. On their way to the Grammys, I guess Chris Brown got into a heated argument with Rihanna and they got into an altercation where Chris Brown physically assaulted her. Now, in my last video, I said black men versus niggas. I talked about basically men hitting on women. I always said that a man that hits on a woman is less of a man. So it applies to every rapper, it applies to every R&B singer, it applies to any athlete, it applies to those who are watching me on YouTube. Any man that hits a woman is a less of a man. That included my best friend. I will give out his name at the end of this video. But the whole thing here is simple. This is what happens in America. Domestic violence. To all the women out there who have been abused by their boyfriends, their husbands, or even their fathers, I want you to understand that I'm there for you. I learned my lesson from hitting women. I'm not perfect. When I was growing up, I used to get into these petty arguments with my mom and my sister. Sometimes it came to fisticuffs, but now I learned that after many years of understanding the plight of a woman, I realized that putting your fist up doesn't mean putting your fist up at a woman. You put your fist up and strive. You can't hit a woman. Now, I'm assuming that Chris Brown's career is completely over, but it could bounce back anytime. But in my opinion, for him being a mega pop star and for her to be a super mega pop star, and their relationship was high profile, and this allegation of domestic violence came forth, it certainly ended the Wrigley career. It certainly ended his pop career, and it also probably turned off many women who supported Chris Brown during the time of him coming out. Now, I'm not sure of how this is going to play out, but I know one thing for sure. This is what's happening in America. Even celebrities are not safe from getting caught up in a scandal. Politicians, entertainers, athletes. I remember that we talked about O.J. Simpson, right? Back in the 90s, he was accused of murdering his wife, Nicole Brown, and the roommate, Ron Goldman. This also goes to domestic violence. Many rappers, many celebrities, many athletes, many politicians have beat up on their women. And I'm just coming to the conclusion that as an American, I want you to realize that any man that lays their fingers on a woman, regardless of what they done to you, regardless of what you have done to her, you're wrong. Wrong. My friend is Charles Barrett. He's a young man who had beat up on his previous baby mother and possibly his second baby mama. Normally, I don't give out the name of the people that I know, but he's an example of the young men out there who abuse women. I want to be clear that has nothing to do with him being the target of this video. But he's an example of all the men out there who think that they have this power over women. Women who love this bad boy image. Women who love to be around people who do wrong. People like myself who are nice guys end up with the wrong women. But for the bad guy, any woman is their take. So I'm guessing that Chris Brown right now is probably remorseful. But remorseful is not enough. In California, he's facing a felony. Especially with the allegations that he physically hit her in the face. In California, they have the most strictest domestic abuse laws out there. And Chris Brown could go to prison, but I doubt that. But if he can try to tell the world that he truly was wrong for doing it, maybe he may salvage his career. But I guess he may not salvage the relationship he has with Rihanna. After all, Rihanna's from Barbados. I'm guessing that Chris Brown is no longer welcome in the country. What is your take on the issue? Do you think domestic violence is a problem in America? And do you think that Chris Brown's music career is over? Now, I want you to be civil on this matter and post your comments at the bottom. Once again, thank you to the people at Heads Up for the shirt. I appreciate it. You know, surviving 8 years of President Bush is pretty hard for a lot of Americans. And now with President Obama in and the tax stimulus plan and the opposition trying to chip away the support of it, it seems like President Obama has to go back into talking down to the people about what would happen. Come to Dayton, Ohio. You understand where I'm coming from when you watch the videos. Thank you again for watching me on YouTube.